Welcome to another episode of Once Upon a Screen Time. It's movie day. Today I have chosen to review and tell, in fairy tale style of course, the movie Colombiana. I hope you enjoy it. Once upon a time, in the quaint and totally not dangerous land of Colombia, there lived a young girl named Cataleya. She wasn't your typical princess, no. No shiny tiaras, no ball gowns in sight. Instead, she had the classic fairy tale starter kit, 2 loving parents, and an ominous backstory waiting to explode. Literally. One fateful day, her parents decided to host a let's get killed by gangsters dinner party. As expected, the menacing villain named Marco arrives to crush the festivities, sending the whole thing into chaos. In true fairy tale fashion, instead of curses or poisoned apples, we get flying bullets, and Cataleya's parents meet a fate as tragic as Cinderella's wardrobe choices before the ball. Before her father dies, he gives Cataleya the one thing every little girl needs: a microchip. To keep the plot moving. With her parents gone and the house in ruins, Cataleya manages to escape the goons by performing some extreme parkour that would make Spider-Man blush. Apparently, climbing walls and leaping over rooftops is just the standard part of childhood in Colombia. Forget hide and seek, kids. This is how you really have fun. After her daring escape, Cataleya somehow ends up in Chicago, where she's greeted by her uncle Emilio. Now, instead of offering her therapy, Uncle Emilio does what any responsible adult would do. He starts training her to be an assassin. Well, she asked for it. Forget soccer practice or piano lessons. This princess's after-school activities include learning how to hotwire cars, shoot guns, and most importantly, take revenge. So wholesome. Cataleya's childhood skipped. Teenage years also skipped. She grows up fast, fueled by the kind of rage that only comes from watching your parents get gunned down in front of you. By the time she's an adult, she's a lean, mean killing machine with the deadliest of fashion senses. And instead of leaving flowers for the living, she leaves them for the dead. Her signature orchid on every person she kills. Because why not turn murder into a branding opportunity? After all, who needs business cards when you have floral symbolism? Now, fast forward a few years and Cataleya has turned professional. In the world of assassins, she is pretty much the Beyoncé of revenge. Every target is dispatched with style and grace. She's like an artist, but instead of paint, she uses knives, guns, and strategic explosions. The essentials. Her list of victims includes a series of low-level criminals who are somehow connected to Don Lewis, the man who really ruined her childhood. He's been living his best life in some tropical paradise. But his time is running out because our fairy tale princess is coming for him, and she's not bringing glass slippers. No, just a vendetta and a whole lot of armor. But let's talk about the real conflict here. Cataleya's boyfriend, Denny. He doesn't even know her name. He thinks she's Jennifer. The love interest. Every fairy tale needs one. Denny, bless his clueless soul. He is a charming artist who's completely unaware that his girlfriend spends her nights planning elaborate murders. He is too busy painting her in soft light, convinced she's a little mysterious, when in reality she's dodging FBI agents and blowing up buildings. It's like she's just not that into you because she's into crime. Meanwhile, the FBI, led by Agent Ross, is starting to notice that a lot of people are ending up dead. And each corpse comes with a signature orchid. Suspicious much? Ross tries his best to catch Cataleya, but law enforcement is always 3 steps behind the protagonist. Ross spends most of his time staring thoughtfully at crime scenes and muttering things like, "We need to catch this person," as if that wasn't obvious from the start. But to his credit, tracking down an assassin who can slip through windows like a ninja in stilettos, it's not easy. The thing is, Cataleya isn't exactly subtle. You know, most assassins keep a low profile, dark alleys, whispered deals. But not our girl. She makes sure everybody knows she's out for blood, as if leaving her floral calling card wasn't enough. It's like she's sending out wedding invitations for the big showdown with Don Lewis. Now let's circle back to Denny for a moment. He's still clueless about his girlfriend's double life and getting frustrated because Catalea won't just sit down and watch a movie with him. To be fair, it's hard to concentrate on a movie when you're plotting the murder of a drug lord. He confronts her, of course, like every fairy tale prince who thinks communication will solve everything. While he's pouring his heart out to her on the phone, she's on the other line cleaning a rifle. Classic relationship tension. If only she could explain that her work involves more body bags than one could ever encounter in a lifetime, then everything would probably be fine. Danny's role in this fairy tale is basically to remind Catalea that emotions exist, which is ironic considering the number of emotions she's currently suppressing with a cocktail of revenge and violence. He's like the cute puppy she didn't ask for, but feels guilty abandoning. In any other story, he'd be the prince saving her from herself, but in this story, Catalea is more than capable of handling her own dragons. Now we arrive at the part of the story where the hero storms the castle to defeat the villain. Only in this tale, the castle is a heavily guarded mansion, and the dragon is Don Lewis, hiding behind his legion of men. He's been living large, sipping cocktails and laughing at his many, many evil deeds. Our girl Catalea isn't just going to walk up the front door and politely ask for revenge. No, she has a plan. And that plan involves an absurd amount of bullets, martial arts, and more explosions than an action movie marathon. Subtlety has officially left the building. She infiltrates his mansion like it's a game of Call of Duty on the hardest difficulty, taking down guards left and right while maintaining that cool, calm, and deadly assassin vibe. This is the part where she really shines. Other fairy tale princesses might be waiting for a prince to save them, but Catalea is way too busy kicking down doors and making villains wish they'd chosen a less explosive career path. The final showdown between Catalea and Don Lewis is everything you'd expect. She confronts him, the man responsible for turning her life into a revenge-fueled nightmare, and they engage in a battle of wits, bullets, and one-liners. Of course, Don Lewis has his villain speech ready, but before he can finish gloating, Catalea does what she does best, ends things with a bang, literally, and he becomes a feast for her dogs. With Don Lewis out of the picture, you'd think our story would end on a high note, with Catalea riding off into the sunset, but this is a modern fairy tale, and happy endings are complicated. Catalea may have gotten her revenge, but now she's a wanted woman with the FBI breathing down her neck and a boyfriend who's probably rethinking his choice in girlfriends. Still, she's free. Free from the weight of her past, free from her quest for revenge, and free to live her life, whatever that might look like now. And we're left with the sense that her journey isn't quite over. In the land of Colombiana, our heroine doesn't wait around for a prince. There's no magic to fix her problems. Instead, there's gunfire, parkour, and more than enough amount of explosions. Catalea is a different kind of princess, the one who takes control of her own destiny with grit and a gun. If there's a moral to the story, it's probably along the lines of revenge may not bring happiness, but it sure looks cool in slow motion.